I want to stay with music for a moment, see, because, David Hickey, he's a big fan of rock and roll, right? He loves the Grateful Dead, the Who, bands along those lines. So it may come as a bit of a surprise to see him taking a pass on all that wailing electric guitar and instead tuning into the music of crystals. David is performing his show Crystal Journey at Winterlude this year. The performance involves one man playing 10 crystal bowls, 8 gongs, a vibraphone, and a santoor. David Hickey is on the line with us for a sneak preview. Good morning.
Good morning, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. I got to be honest, David, I don't even know what a santoor is. Can you explain that?
It all started early morning last January. I woke up from a dream of playing this Middle Eastern instrument, and it's one of those dreams where when you wake up you wondered how real was it. And well, let's just say it's real enough that I got up and went to the internet and found what it was, and here comes a santoor into my life. It's a 72-string instrument. Some people know it as a dulcimer. So
oh, okay.
It's kind of like a hammered dulcimer, and this one is handmade from Iran. It's a beautiful instrument. Unfortunately, I won't be able to play it outdoors at Winterlude. It's a very delicate instrument. You can imagine the strings, once I hit them at -10, they'll just pop. So I will be using that hopefully in the yurt throughout the weekend. It's a little bit more contained, and I'll have some heat in there, so that's where people will be able to see the santoor.
And you'll also be bringing your crystal bowls, your gongs as well. What I don't seem to be able to connect in my mind is, how do you go from being a fan of the Grateful Dead to a show like this that involves really delicate, lovely instruments?
I'm still trying to figure that out myself. It's been a 10-year journey for me, and very much in the spirit and the way the Grateful Dead conducted themselves, which was an infusion of all of the music that each individual band member came from, their background. Jerry Garcia was bluegrass and country. Bob Weir was country and folk, and the drummers, Bill Kreutzmann was jazz, and Mickey Hart came from a military family, and Phil Lesh was classical, and their keyboardist Ron McKernan was the blues. So what they all brought to the Grateful Dead became known as their type of music. It was a type of music that wasn't easily described. And when a lot of people hear the name the Grateful Dead, they think heavy rock and roll or even metal, and it was anything but. It was just this beautiful infusion of all of the mentioned genres of music, and that's what Crystal Journey is. I take all of the music that I love and infuse it into these incredible instruments, and out comes the sound of Crystal Journey.
Well, where are you sourcing these instruments from?
Each instrument is very unique, and just so the listeners know, I am a one-man band. I orchestrate all of this myself. It's all improvised, and every concert's completely different. And the crystal bowls themselves, they're made in China, and they're made from pure quartz crystal, 99.9% pure silica. And the sound that comes from them are absolutely stunning. They're right up there with the pure tones of a piano or a harp, even more pure. And the gongs are from Germany. They're made by Paiste, so some people know them as the cymbals from drum kits, and they're pretty famous in that world. But they also make this line of gongs, which are just absolutely phenomenal, which is the main instrument I'll be using for the opening of Winterlude. And the particular ones that I'll be using are called planetary gongs, and each of the gongs represents a planet, and that they are tuned to the harmonic frequency of that particular planet. And kind of in layman's terms, that's what the sound of that particular planet makes if you were able to travel to outer space and hear them. It's
How would you even know that, though? Who decided on these tones?
Well, I've heard recordings from NASA on a couple of the space shuttle missions. They took a microphone out into space and recorded a lot of the sound. They were able to bring it back and kind of mix it a little bit and get these sounds. And a lot of it is space noise, space winds, solar winds, and things like that. But when you really get to the heart of the recording, you can start to hear these frequencies. And the first time I heard those recordings from NASA, I thought I was listening to one of my discs. And I realized that I wasn't, because I know what I create, and I sat there with my jaw open, unbelievable. Because I was told that, and I've read that on the website of how these gongs were created, but to actually hear these similarities to these recordings from NASA just blew me away.
Well, let's take a listen to some of your music to hear what these planets and your gongs may sound like. David, what are we hearing there?
You are hearing a combination of the vibraphone, which is, I just love that instrument, the vibraphone, some crystal bowls, and the gongs.
It's a beautiful sound that comes together, isn't it?
You know what? I've got goosebumps just sitting here listening to it, just that little bit. It's phenomenal. I call it a lullaby from space. You know, what it does is just it helps you to relax. And when I'm in a normal performance at Winterlude, we'll be miking it because we're going to be outdoors and there's going to be a lot of people there. But normally I play indoors at yoga studios and churches, and you can really hear the music. There's no amps, no mics, no mixers, no synthesizers. This is pure raw sound, and it's a beautiful way to experience music.
Well, that's what I want to know more about. What is the appeal of this particular sound to you?
When I first heard a crystal bowl, which was almost 10 years ago, I was just blown away. And music's been my life, and I have always been a fan of music from the side of just wanting to go to concerts and watch the band and watch them play and watch them interact. It was all about trying to find a particular sound. And there's a Grateful Dead song called Unbroken Chain, and one of the lines is, listening for the secret, searching for the sound. And that's been my life, searching for that particular sound. And when I heard a crystal bowl and a gong for the first time, it was that sound, and I knew it. My body knew it, my spirit, my soul, and I just filled up with this overwhelming joy. And every time I play, and it's no different from night to night. It's not faded away. It's not gone away. That's how I feel. And like I just said to you, I just had goosebumps listening to that little bit right there. It's all about that sound.
Clearly, the sound is the end of the musical journey that you were on. The show that you're doing is called Crystal Journey. Where do you hope to take the audience this weekend and all through Winterlude?
Well, if it's cold, I hope to warm them up a little bit. And I just want people to come and get a taste. I have a pretty good following in Ottawa, so I know there's going to be a lot of new people there, thousands of new people that will be exposed to my music. And I just want people to come and be able to experience, something that is very soothing and, not synthesized and not pre-recorded, and see that, in a world where we are inundated with manipulation, our cell phones and computers and all of the music today that's, recorded in the studio, and are the instruments being played by the musicians, or are the instruments being played by a computer? So this is a really good way to experience raw music like it was, back in the day with jazz and classical and a new, it's an old type of music because the instruments themselves are some of them are ancient. The Santoor is an ancient instrument, but it's played in a new way where people can really hear the instrument and not have to be manipulated through it being digitized.
David, I want to wish you the best with Crystal Journey this weekend and all through Winterlude. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much, Michael. My pleasure.
David Hickey performs his show Crystal Journey at the Mongolian Yurt in Confederation Park today from 2 to 6 in the afternoon, and then again tomorrow between 2 and 4:30. He also has performances next weekend and as well the week after that, including one at St. Paul's University on Monday, February 21st. David's concert is just one of the many performances and events that are happening as part of Winterlude 2011. You can find out all the details on our website, cbc.ca/intownandout, or you can simply turn up your radio.
I'm Guy Laflamme, Vice President Capital Experience at the NCC, responsible for Winterlude. So weekend 1, you should start in Jacques Cartier Park at the Sun Life Snowflake Kingdom, where you can meet our lovely Ice Hog family. In addition to getting a hug from the Ice Hogs, you can go down 20 different slides, including 5 tubing slides. On the first weekend, we will also celebrate Nunavut. We will have cultural performances with young artists from Nunavut remote communities, and kids will be invited to be part of the art of b-boying and b-girling to highlight some of the traditions of people living in the north. You can also go to an activity called Expérience Manège. It's an opportunity for free introduction to downhill skiing with qualified instructors, and we will provide all the downhill skiing equipment and coaching from experts. And that's offered free of charge Saturdays and Sundays in Jacques Cartier Park. If we move across the river to the Rogers Crystal Garden in Confederation Park, on the first weekend, you can start discovering the magnificent creations of 14 teams of professional ice carvers who will showcase their work. They are from Mexico, Sweden, Japan, China, Iraq, just to name a few. In addition to that, you should go to the Canadian Museum of Civilization. Let's cross the river again, where you can bring your snowboard and be part of the Focus Snow Jam, as you will be able to get an amazing adrenaline rush as you can learn how to snowboard and take part in snowboard demonstrations. And again, that's Saturday and Sunday, free of charge. We also have Igloo Fest on Saturday evening, VJs and DJs starting at 7 p.m. outside the museum, as well as Flux and Fire, an interactive fire experience with artist Christine Irving, and you can do some rap and see fire flares appearing around you. In addition to that, the museum also has Les Sept Doigts de la Main performing in the theater. We invite you to go to the Winterlude website, that's winterlude.gc.ca, to get the exact schedule and details of all those activities.